Hi guys, welcome to the newest episode of the Independent Brokerage with Roundtable Realty. I am the broker and owner, Howard Flashen, and I'm here with...
Erin Salem, Director of Marketing, Director for Roundtable Realty, and we're here with...
Tiea Vincent, Property Manager and Broker Owner of Roundtable Property Management.
Welcome, Tiea Vincent.
Thank
We
you.
were just discussing on the last episode how Howard and I could absolutely never do your job.
Ever.
No.
We would just allow people to stay. We would welcome them to stay.
I'd pay the rent.
We'd pay it for them.
Yep.
No problem, so long as there's no confrontation.
But it's good to put a face with the name that
Yeah.
we were talking about, and she is a master property
So
manager.
she's going to sit in with us today and discuss whatever Howard is going to bring up to us. I can't wait. Good weekend, by the way.
I have some stuff to talk about.
I can't wait.
So I don't know if you knew this, but the Jacksonville Jaguars played this weekend,
I might have been there.
and they played the second New York team,
Yes.
and we smoked them.
Whoosh.
Yeah, it was
And I
like
got
a...
smoked.
And,
I got smoked.
and there was a lot of sun.
It was a totally different Jaguars team than last week. So
It
that's
was.
Good. That's
yeah,
good.
not even sure that they were there last week.
No, I was there,
I was there too.
and it was terrible.
Yes.
Other than the cabana and the pool,
That's right.
that was good. That
Yeah.
made it somewhat more enjoyable.
Tolerable.
Super hot.
Yes,
Yes.
very, very hot. I have some topics I'd like to talk about with you guys today.
Let's
Okay.
do it.
Okay, so the first thing, first off, I wanted to bring up, speaking of the Jaguars,
What you got there?
our latest Jacksonville Business Journal has this beautiful big picture of what's coming, which is the Riverfront Miracle.
Oh.
Okay, seriously, this is what they're talking
That's
about.
what it says on there. Riverfront
Built
Miracle.
around this Shad Khan Jaguar Stadium Daly's place, and the potential for growth down there.
It's
And
huge.
It is, and we're really lucky in that a lot of cities had their riverfront downtown areas developed 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
And Jacksonville actually has a lot of space that's undeveloped.
That's right.
And here we are, 2018, with all this new tech, and we're going to be able to do some really cool stuff. The thing I really wanted to ask you guys about was a quote I read from our mayor, Lenny Curry, and I thought it was really neat. And you tell me, you can't be a suburb of nowhere. Interesting, right?
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, because we've always talked about how Jacksonville's all these different suburbs,
Right.
All these different, but there is no center.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Right?
very true. I mean, you go to Tampa, Miami, South Beach, you go to a lot of these coastal cities, and they've got these beautiful boardwalks and sidewalks and restaurants and hotels, and at night it's beautifully lit up, and there's so much to see and do. And then you come to downtown Jacksonville, and
It's a little sketch.
it's a little sketch.
I used to live downtown, right next to the property they're looking at putting all this new development in.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't a big fan of going out after 9 o'clock at night.
Absolutely.
I loved the ambiance of the sirens at nighttime. It helped me sleep. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with it.
Yeah,
I am too.
I'm fighting a little bit of a cold, you guys, so I'm actually drinking
I'm gonna
hot
lean
tea.
this way.
I'm going to lean this way too. All right, so I want to talk about a couple things, real estate related, shocker. First off, Zillow just came out with their Consumer Trends 2018 report, and there was a really interesting point they brought up.
Okay.
Okay, in the old days,
Yeah.
however old those were,
Older than
You-
us.
Yeah, obviously.
you had first-time home buyers and move-up buyers looking for different product.
Yes.
Okay, so a first-time home buyer is buying a first-time home buyer home, and then a move-up buyer is buying a move-up buyer home.
Yeah,
right?
I can smell what you're cooking. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now they report that first-time home buyers and move-up buyers are competing for the same thing. And so you actually have twice-ish as many home buyers trying to snatch up a
Those
move-up
same-
buyer home.
And why is that?
Low interest rates, maybe? Cheap
Okay.
money?
Okay.
Areas like this are very, very affordable, North Florida. So what was really interesting is that these first-time home buyers are competing with these move-up buyers for the same home.
Right.
And, is it low interest rates? Is it cheap money? But what it really is doing is, so you had on the seller side of things, low inventory. And on the buy side of things, you have everybody clamoring for the same home and investors buying up rentals below that.
Okay.
And that might have contributed to a lot of what we saw.
Well,
Yeah.
I think a big section here is those investors are coming in and buying what you would typically think is a first-time home buyer's home. So I think the first-time home buyers are having a hard time competing with the investors, and that's why they're having to go after those.
Oh,
second homes.
that's huge. That makes a ton of sense because I know just a couple of years ago, you guys were, I mean, constantly with the investors. Oh, we want to come in, and they're still doing it. Lots of cash offers on these, not lower value, but lower price point homes, so that they can turn around, fix them up a little bit, and rent them out, and use them as property investments.
Yeah, you don't see as many flips. Flips seem to be late.
Yeah, why is that?
It's just harder. You don't see as much margin or spread.
I see.
And so
Prices going up, things like that.
Yeah.
it's harder
yeah.
to get that done. All right, so here's another thing that we can talk a little bit that kind of dovetails into that is Trulia.
Trulia. Trulia.
Owned by Zillow.
Owned. Oh, I didn't know that.
There you go.
Competitors, but not competitors.
Yeah,
right.
We'll talk about some of that other stuff in the future. But anyway, so how about this? They say potentially we might see more inventory on the horizon.
Why?
They said that the decline, which is weird, there was a decline of inventory last month, but only by 2.5%, which is the smallest since 2015. So perhaps the decrease in inventory is slowing.
Okay.
And we've been talking quite a few times, is there a shift
Is there
coming?
a shift? Yeah.
And if we're going to see more inventory, then that's going to make things a bit different for realtors and for sellers that are out there.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you might be asking yourself, how?
How, Howard?
Well,
How would it make a difference?
Well, I'll tell you. So the first thing is that in a year ago, if a seller came to you and said, I want to list my home for sale, and you met with them and you did all your homework and you were well prepared and you said, I think that your home is going to sell somewhere between 240 and 260 in that ballpark, depending on what you do and conditions and time of year and things like that.
Okay.
Very often a seller might say, let's try 275.
Right.
And the realtor might go, it's kind of been like that for the last 3 years. All right, let's just give it a
see
shot.
what
Let's see what
happens.
happens. Well, now what's going to happen?
Final words of death.
And so now what we're seeing happen is that 275 is a kiss of death. It's sitting and sitting and sitting, and it's just not going to happen anymore. And now you're going to have to price it perfect. Does that they do that in property
Same
management
thing
too,
as
right?
with rentals.
Yeah.
So I'll put a property out there on the market. I'll look at what's out there, the inventory. If there's nothing out there, just last week I put one up at 2,700. The comp supported 2,200, but there was nothing out there. So let's see what happens.
Okay.
And it rents. But if there's 12 others out there at the same price, now I've got to be 5% lower just to get looked at.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes total sense.
So another thing sellers are going to have to start doing
Yeah.
is they're going to have to fix things ahead of listing.
Right.
So right now, a lot of people are in the past year and a half, they're saying, I want to sell the home as is. Now in North Florida, the boilerplate NEFAR contract that we use is an as-is contract because if a buyer and seller don't come to an agreement on repairs and the buyer doesn't cancel, then they're buying the home as is. So it's an as-is contract. But sellers have been saying, I want to sell it as is. Well, they're not going to be able to do that. They're going to have to be competing and marketing their home as if it were a model home.
Yeah.
It's going to have to look great.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, and we've seen that happen time and time again with homes that are in great condition, but there's little things like the carpet up the stairs has wear marks, or that one light switch is beige and all the other ones are white. Just silly little things like that you think, oh well, that's not going to make or break. I'm selling the home as is, and those are the little things that people are noticing in the homes and saying it feels dirty or even cluttered, even though it's just that one thing.
Back in the day, you could do, the seller will give a concession for the carpet or concession for the paint. But a lot of the buyers that are coming in are those millennials, and they like things that are done. They want it quick. They want it easy.
Very
they
discerning.
they don't want to have to replace the carpet with the money you gave them. They want it already replaced.
Well, and it may only cost you $1,500 to fix the carpet, but someone who maybe doesn't know that wants $3,000 in credit.
Because the carpet they're going to pick out is not going to be what you
Right.
Oh, and also it's because of the psychology of it. It's not just carpet. What other things are we going to see that we don't see now, but we're going to see after we move in that we want you to pay for, even though it's fine.
Absolutely.
So finally, the last thing, and then we'll transition into food because that's my favorite thing.
Mine too.
Is agents, realtors are going to have to start getting more blunt. So going back to the conversation I had
this is all for me. I'm ready for this.
So agents in the past have said 240, 260, I want to try 275. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Well, now that agents, we talked about in an earlier episode, agents are going to have to spend a lot more money in marketing.
Right.
They may not be as willing or apt to take on listings that are way, way, way overpriced.
Right.
Because that inventory may not sell.
Yeah.
And they may have to tell a seller, look, 275 isn't in the ballpark. It's not going to sell.
Exactly.
I don't necessarily want to take that listing. Now, there are realtors out there and brokerages out there that will buy a listing. Okay, we know that. They'll put it on the market for 275 just to get assigned in the yard. We don't do that at Roundtable Realty. No. We think that's a disservice to our potential client to not be honest. But there are realtors out there that will do that.
And I'm not a huge fan of having my days on market count go really high.
Exactly.
So if I'm getting up in the 90 days and I don't have it under contract, I'd rather not have my sign in the yard if it's going to do that.
Exactly.
Yep. So realtors are going to have to get more honest with pricing of a home and saying, look, it's not going to happen.
Absolutely. I'd love to get you that price. But if I'm being honest with you, this is and that's part of what being a single agent is all about is being able to have that honesty with your client. And if you're a transaction agent,
you may not be able to say these things.
You might not be able to say those things to your client. It's so important.
Something that the seller needs to consider is that they're on commission. So the more money they sell your home for, the more money that they make.
Sure.
So if an agent's telling you to drop the price, they're dropping their commission as well.
Absolutely.
They're not doing it for their sake. They're doing it for yours.
And the goal is to get the home sold.
Right.
That's why you hired me.
Exactly.
You know? All right. What's your favorite barbecue? Like food choice.
You know, I'm going to be really honest here. I am not a huge barbecue fan. So when
if you had to have it, then turkey?
No, I would definitely not say turkey. You know, my mom used to make bone-in barbecue chicken on the grill. Simple, no frills, none of this like, oh, it's a special, this kind of barbecue sauce. Just the barbecue sauce you get it. And that still is my favorite.
Okay.
Just mom's barbecue chicken.
Anything pork. Pulled pork, pork shoulder, pork butt. Recently, pork tenderloins.
Your husband does a good pork
A lot
butt.
of smoking going on at
Yes,
the house.
yes. All right, well, mine's brisket, but here's what I really want to talk about. I got lunch from Memphis Jax Barbecue.
Where's that?
It's on Phillips Highway over by Nocatee.
Okay.
Okay. And here's the thing I want to talk about was the food's great. They have great food.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you walk in there, it's different than most barbecue joints I've been to.
Because?
It's so clean. Like, it is so nice in there.
Because their barbecue places do tend to have that feeling of everything's
smoky.
and everything's kind of oily or greasy or like there's butter on everything.
I even talked to the owner.
Butter on everything.
But I talked to the owner about it. I said, I just can't believe how clean and professional everything looks in here. And she said, yeah, it wasn't cheap.
I bet.
It wasn't cheap, but it was so clean, and like you're just, because I got it to go, so I'm standing by the bar at the kitchen area, and it was just, I'm looking back there, and the food was good, obviously, but I was just really, really taken by how clean it was.
Makes a difference when you're sitting down to eat, that you feel like you're not sitting down to eat.
Never good when your flip-flops kind of stick.
Oh,
when you're walking.
That's bad.
Yeah, nobody likes that feeling.
No, that was bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you're in the area over there, try Memphis Jax Barbecue. The food's good, and compliment them on how clean it is.
How clean their establishment is.
That's right.
Awesome.
All right, well, thanks for sticking around. Thank you for being with us
Thanks,
today.
Tiea.
And thanks for hanging out with us at the Independent Brokerage with Roundtable Realty, and we will see you next week.
See you soon.